Hey everyone, it's Jack, and I'm out at the Hefftor website to take a look at Hefftor Linux. This is a request that was made by Doug Tilleron. He had commented a couple of times during my Archcraft videos that Hefftor Linux was much better. So I was like, really? Well, let's go take a look and find out. So here I am at the Hefftor Linux website, and the website looks gorgeous. So if this is any indication of what the distro might look like, then I'm even more intrigued. So here at the website, it's got a few screenshots here and even a little thing here that says free does not mean ugly. That's cool. I like that. That's true. I mean, just because it's free, sometimes we assume things have to be ugly because, well, it's free. So what do you expect, right? So here they're kind of making the point that Linux is a beautiful operating system with solid foundations built on security and privacy. But, however, the creator of Hefftor Linux has teamed up with an artist from right here, Byrotech. So he has teamed up with this guy who happens to be found on DeviantArt. And so I think that's a really cool combination where you got an artist and a developer working together on a distro. That I especially find appealing because I really like a distro with nice aesthetic. And when you got it on an Arch distro to boot, that's a bonus. So down here, they got a lot of things on the website. They got tutorials, and so a lot of information to get you started using Hefftor Linux. Even some information on booting to a USB stick, burning it on properly, and also testimonials. When you got testimonials, you know it's good. So let's take a look at this. Down here we got our torrent ISO, and that's another plus because I love it when a distro has torrents available. So that's really cool. I'm going to go ahead and download this ISO. So the ISO is a little bit over 2 gigs, so not bad. And I'm going to go ahead and download this, and I'll be right back. By the way, we're going to install this on real hardware, no virtual. So that way we can get a more realistic assessment of how Hefftor Linux works. I'll go ahead and download this and I'll be right back. Okay, we're logged in here to our new install. So let's take a look and see what we got. First, we're greeted with the welcome screen here, or the welcome app. And behind it, we got what looks like a conky, which I think we had in the live version too. And those fonts are really cool. Love that. Again, that's the artistic taste coming out in the team. All these little things add up, these little nuances. Really like that. So that is cool. And then on our welcome app here, we have our applications menu. And to me, this looks like a menu of select apps that maybe the developers included for easy access, maybe recommendations for install users. Like, for example, I would probably right off the bat, probably install something like FileZilla, GIMP, of course, TimeShift, absolutely, Visual Studio Code, and SuperTux. There you go. That's a cool game. I like SuperTux. So, yes, and Winetricks, Steam, got easy access right here. So this is really cool. And then, of course, over here, you got your social links and other links. Become a patron to support the project, which is definitely worthwhile. For donating as well through PayPal, yes. And to visit the Hefftor Linux website, there you go. Quick, easy access. Excellent. So I'm liking the web welcome app. Very nice. Well done. And then, of course, down here we got our blank bar here. And then on top, we got the XFCE panel. And the XFCE panel is set up in transparent mode. It's very kind of out of the way. It almost has this minimalistic look. So that's really cool. And the thing is, if I was setting this up by myself, I probably never would have opted to use transparent. Even though I know that option exists, I probably would have gone like, I don't want to go with transparent without even trying. But now that I've seen it already done, and this is why I like checking out different distros and why I like using distros to begin with, as opposed to just doing an install from scratch, is because you learn all these cool, neat little things that you never would have tried on your own. And this is kind of a perfect example right here, because I would have just said transparent, and never gave it a chance. But now that I'm actually seeing it because someone did it ahead of me, I'm looking at it and saying, wow, I like it. It's kind of minimalistic looking, non-intrusive, and it kind of blends right in with the background. Really cool. So Yes, that is neat. Now, some people out there, when you look at this, you might be put off at the desktop. Some people want that traditional look like you would have in Windows or like in Cinnamon. Maybe you're coming over from Cinnamon or some other desktop that has the traditional panel on the bottom and menu on the left side and all that. So for you guys, if you don't like the plank being there and so forth, well, for one thing, you can just turn off plank. And you can do that simply by opening a terminal and typing in pkill blank. And then that'll make it go away. And it's gone. And then you can uninstall and plank won't be around to bother you anymore. And then, of course, if you want to traditionalize your menu, you can simply come up here, right-click, select your panel, and then panel preferences. And then we can unlock our panel like this. And then you'll see that it's surrounded in a red border showing you that it's in edit mode. And then over here, you got a little handle that appears and you can just grab it on either side actually and just pull it on down to the bottom. And then if you want that traditional look, we can go into appearance. And then for our background, select solid color. And then right here, you'll see that the color is transparent. So if we click on that and then select black, that'll kind of give it that Windows 7 look, or I think even Linux Mint maybe. It might be in black, I can't remember. So anyways, so you do that, and then if you want it to be even more traditional, so it shows your open apps down here, and we can go into items and select add, and then from our items list, scroll down and select window buttons and hit add, close it, and then we would take our arrows here, and we're going to move these window buttons up until they're over off to the side here. And now you kind of have that traditional look. Easy peasy. And then, whoops, forgot to take it out of the, forgot to lock it. If you don't lock your panel, then you probably see that red border for a little bit. Okay, maybe not. So anyways, then you got the traditional look. And then you got your menu here. Nice. Really, that's all there is to it to get that traditional look. And you can also tweak that too, like your row size. You can make that bigger if you want your menu on the bottom bigger. You can do that. That's another thing you can do. There's a gazillion ways you can tweak this guy. So this is just kind of one way to do it, to get a quick traditional look. And then, of course, if you like that plank look, then you can shorten your length like that. All right. So anyways, yes. And then, of course, you got your mode here for horizontal. You can set it vertical if you like it on the side, or desk bar, you get there. So that's cool. Well, some people like that. And then if you put it back in horizontal mode, then you're back here. So there you go. Easy peasy. Personally, though, I really want to stay with the Hefftor looks, the way they designed it, because one, I really like it. And two, I want to keep it in the spirit of the design for this review. So real quick, I'm just going to pop that back up there. I'm going to bring this down. Actually, I forgot where that was. Probably around 2-ish, give or take. Might have even been, but we'll just say 30. Round number. And then I'll set the color back to transparent. Select it. And then jump over to display, unlock the panel, and drag this baby back to the top. And then lock it back up, close it, jump over here, type in plank, and relaunch it. There we go. Okay, so now we're back. The only difference is the window buttons, and I'll go ahead and remove those. I do like window buttons, by the way. It's nice to see at a glance what apps are open right there. So that is one plus. Of course, with the plank menu, you can also see what's open by looking down here. Although the dot down there is a little kind of hard to see with this wallpaper. So, but there's a little blue dot under each app that's open right now. So that's how you can tell at a glance with the plank bar. And of course, you can change the theming on there too to make it even easier to. I'm just going to hit items here and then select window buttons and hit remove. And it's going to say, really? Seriously? You want to remove it? And yep. There we go. Nice. Easy peasy. Okay. Now we're back there. And I guess I can close that for now. Also, before I forget, when I first logged in, before I even turned on OBS Studio, I took a screenshot of HTOP because I wanted to get an idea of what the idle was on this. So if we go into our pictures folder, I'll just open this baby up. And it was idling around 767 megabytes. Sometimes it would drop down to like 733, but it's just kind of hanging between 730-ish and 767. Not bad. I would consider that okay. It's not real low, but it's not real high. So it's kind of in the middle in a happy ground. I think that's fine because it is based on Arco. And if I remember right, Arco idles in right around 67. And the way I see this is I kind of see this like ArcoLinux with the artistic flair. And so that's kind of how I picture this, at least so far. And I really like that. So I'm going to minimize that real quick and let's take a look at our wallpaper since we're in here. So if I go into desktop settings, here we got our wallpaper and looks like there's some beautiful wallpaper. Let me hit one of those and show desktop. Wow, that's cool. I like that. That would actually make a cool login. Yeah, that would. Got the time down here on the conky. I like this conky. That's kind of cool, actually. Normally, I'm not a real conky person. Mess with them, but this one I kind of like. So anyways, back to the wallpaper. A lot of nice looking ones. That was the default that we had. That's really cool. Got the bull under the moon. Other one. Yeah, very nice, clean wallpapers. And they don't make them too busy. I think a lot of people that design wallpapers don't think about that. But if you got a wallpaper, typically you have desktop icons if you're a wallpaper person. And if your wallpaper's too busy, the desktop icons just kind of blend in and it all looks messy. I see that they got some good taste here with their wallpaper. Whoa, that's too cool. I love it. Yes. That really pops. I love it. Man, that is too cool. Now that's probably one of the best wallpapers I've ever seen. This is great. Okay, I'm keeping this one. That's worth installing the distro all by itself. Wow. Just the use of color in this photography, in the processing, everything is just gorgeous. All right. So I'm sticking with that. Cool. And I'm just wondering here, in our background, here in our folder, if we go to other, our backgrounds are stored here in user share background, Hefftor Linux _4K. Wonder what else is in our background. Another Hefftor Linux. Let's see what's in there. And we got a new set of wallpaper. Oh, really cool. Gorgeous. Man, these are top notch. Again, awesome colors. These are great. That one's really cool too. I like that. Very good. Wow. That is fantastic. I gotta tell you, I could use up an hour just staring at these things. So I better make myself quit. I gotta jump back to that cityscape because that's still my favorite. So I'm going back to other, hitting Hefftor 4K and popping that baby back in there. So wow, I gotta tell you, big points for the wallpapers. All right. I don't know what else to say other than look like one of those cool guys that do the YouTube videos and drink the cup of joe while they're drinking coffee and talking about Linux. I am Mr. Cool. Oh, okay. Where was I? Yes. Yeah, I couldn't reason. So anyways, if I was really going to impress people, I'd try to come up with some kind of technical doublespeak. You know, the paradigm of the hyperbole of cubic C must be resonant with the Linux kernel in order to reach that state of Zen. Yeah, it's amazing what you can get with doublespeak. So anyways, let's check out our menu. So here we got in our favorites. I like having the favorites right there. That's always handy to have favorites that you can reference to. And of course, we got our search bar up here too. So anytime you want to just look for something real quick, all you got to do is type it in, like, not even sure what's installed, 2-bit torrent. And then there it is. So yeah, let's see what's installed, by the way. Here we have our all applications. Then we have accessories. So these are all our accessories that are installed by default. And these are pretty much, I think, probably typical with what you would see. There's your task manager. Usually I see that in the system settings, probably in both. And we also have Vim. Thunar is our default file manager. And then under development, we have Genie, which I installed during install, or checked, during install. Then we have Git. That's kind of nice. So that's a Git repository. Then we have Meld, Icon Browser, Sublime, Graph. We got our color picker. Ooh, Peak. That's kind of cool. That's like a GIF animation software. This is really cool because you can capture, like, for example, if you're playing a video, you could capture a section of that video as a GIF file, and then you'll have an animated GIF. Or you can choose other options like APNG, which is an animated PNG file. A GIF file has a maximum color resolution of 256 colors. So you're kind of limited in your colors, but an animated PNG, a PNG file, of course, you got 16K plus colors, you choose from. So you can get a really high quality animation with an animated PNG. I think animated PNGs aren't not real easy to find apps that'll play those. That's the catch. Of course, I haven't messed with APNGs in like probably 4 or 5 years, so maybe anybody can play them. I don't know. And then we got WebM and MP4 formats that you can save these at. But the real novelty is the fact that you can just easily create an animated GIF. And let's try something. This is a blank install, so there's probably nothing really on here. I could run HTOP. HTOP moves around, so let's try that. It's not overly exciting, but at least it moves. We can kind of get an idea. So I'll just put this over here, then we'll click record as GIF or GIF, however you like to pronounce it. Semantics, potato, potato, tomato, tomato, Celtic, Celtic. Okay, so this guy's moving around, and I'm going to go ahead and stop it, and then we'll save it to our video file. And now let's open this baby up down here, and I think it saved it to our video folder probably. Yeah, there we go. So if we play this guy, here we go. It's playing the animated GIF, and the picture viewer we're playing this in is, I think this is probably Ristretto, if I remember right. Yeah, so we're using the Ristretto picture viewer, and it's playing really well. And there's my cursor moving around and my mouse. So it captured that as well. Nice. That is really cool. Actually, it looks like it even, oh no, I thought it recorded that. We're good. Nice. Okay, so we'll quit. So that's peak. That's a peek at peak. And over here, you can set your preferences if you like. GIF is the default output format. And then your frame rate here. Typically for a convincing animation, 15 frames per second is probably about the minimum. 10 is okay for most animated GIFs. But if you need something with smoother animation, I would go with at least 15. Just FYI. And it looks like for recording, the keyboard shortcut would be Control-Alt-R. Nice. And you can even change it if you want to use something else like Super R or something. Okay. Very good. So that's peak. And then, of course, we got our color picker and our Ristretto image viewer. And then under Internet, we got Brave, our default browser. And then we have Firefox here, which is what we installed during install. And QBitTorrent is our BitTorrent, which is nice. And then under multimedia, we got our Audacity, which we installed during install, selected during install. OBS Studio I installed, of course. And then we have our Pulse Audio stuff, cute, and VLC Media Player by default, which is another thing I like. So I like that. This is really set up a lot the way I would just set it up myself anyway. So a lot of defaults in GM Run. That's cool. So a quick access to GM Run. And I believe the keyboard shortcut for that would be the same as KDE or KRunner, which would be Alt Space, I think. Yep, it comes up. Same key stroke there. So if you typed in your app that you wanted to launch, like Firefox, just type it in and there you go. Nice. Okay, so GM Run. That's nice to see that on there. Great little addition. So that was under other. And then, of course, settings, we have our typical settings that you would kind of expect to see, but a few more too. We got a render on here. That's nice to be included. Better lock screen 101. Wow, that's kind of cool. Like a GUI app to kind of set up your lock screen. You can change your images here pretty easily. And these look like the images that we navigated to in our background. Yeah, the Hefftor images folder. Oh, great. That's really nice. You can really make your lock screen pop here quickly just by changing your image. That's very cool. Hey, I like that. Those are nice, useful utilities. Really enhance the quality of your desktop experience. And of course, there's our welcome app, and we have a login customizer. Nice. And a Skell GUI. Oh, cool. Let's try our login customizer real quick. Just kind of take a look at it. So you can enable your login here. Set your auto logon user. That's great. And your session, of course, which right now is only XFCE. And then you can set your themes right here. Nice. So right at the get-go at your login, you can change your theme. And if I remember right now, this is the theme right here for the login. I think I'll just change it to something else just for fun. Maybe that one. All right. So that is that for that. That makes sense. Menu editor. Remove applications from the menu. That's handy. Privilege granting. Another handy thing. There's our session and startup. Shared folders. So that's cool. You probably got to install Samba and a couple things like that. Users and groups. That's handy. A lot of times vanilla install XFCE doesn't have a GUI way of handling users and groups. Typically, you would install something like Mate users, something like that, if you didn't want to use the console. However, this is cool. So here we can go ahead and add users. We can change the avatar there, it looks like. And I like the avatar. Oh, actually, that's to change the username. So actually changing the avatar for your user would be in your user settings, which we'll be getting to in a little bit. So that's great. All right. Very handy. I'm glad to see that in there. And so then we have system. And system, again, here's our add remove software, HTOP, manage printing. And let's open this real quick. This is our Pamac package manager, and I like the theming in there. This is cool. But you know what? Recently, we just Pacman has upgraded to version 6. And the last I knew, Pamac wasn't really compatible with Pacman 6, so it would break when you upgraded to Pacman 6 and you couldn't use Pamac anymore. I'm thinking, since we're on the subject, we should run the updates and let that update. Typically, I update using the console, using sudo pacman syy. But since we have this open anyway, what would happen if I ran the updater through this when it could possibly make it? Okay, yay bin. Okay, yeah, that's the other thing. Yay is not compatible with Pacman 6 either. But I can show you how to deal with that. Not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And it says breaks dependency required by yay bin. Add yay bin to remove, which I think we already did that. So that's good. And I got some sun shining on my face. So that's probably really screwing up my video. So I'm going to pause the video real quick and just kind of pull the shade because I'm sure I look pretty funky right now. At least that's what I. So yes. Okay, that should be a little better. It's evening right now, so this is actually an unusual time for me to be recording, and the sun usually doesn't come in through that window, but it is now. And so anyways, I'm going to let this updater run. And after that's done running, there's some things I'm going to need to show you that you'll want to deal with. And this is not related to Hefftor specifically. Pretty much any Linux distro that you install right now at the time of this video is going to have some issues with Pamac and probably Yay because of the fact that they haven't caught up yet with Pacman 6. And so they don't play nice together right now. However, that's not a big deal because we do have some options where we can reinstall Pamac AUR using Yay, but if Yay doesn't work, then we can't do it. So we got to install Yay first from GitHub. And so we're going to do that, and then we're going to use Yay to get Pamac AUR from the AUR, and then that'll solve the problem here. And again, nothing to do with Hefftor. This is not a distro-specific issue. It's just an issue with Pacman 6 and being so new. And so there's some things on the back end that aren't so easy to just tweak to get it caught up. So it takes the developers a little bit of time to kind of get caught up with it. And they will. And maybe even by the time you're watching this video, it'll already be resolved. But at least as of now, June 14th, 2021, it's an issue. But an easy fix, I'll show you. Anyway, the sky is still updating. So I'm going to just, while that's doing its thing, let's take a look at our system settings. And we'll just do a quick run through on here because a lot of this stuff is pretty typical. Nothing that you probably haven't seen before. So here we got our About Me. That's kind of cool. We were just in the users utility there just a minute ago. This is where you'd go if you want to change your avatar. I really like the bull though, so I think I would keep that. But if you want to put in your own custom picture or use a system picture, this is where you can do it. So nice. And then of course you can change your information here, your name. But this is really for informational purposes. That's not going to actually change your username, but it will change your avatar. So it's kind of cool. And then of course our appearance. Let's see what kind of theme we're using. So we're using Juno Pale Night. Ah, okay, so that's what it's using. I like this theme. It looks really kind of cool. The highlighter there is kind of Manjaro looking, which I don't really like the Manjaro colors that much, but I do like the overall look. And this particular surf green or sea green or whatever you want to call that does work. So yeah, that's cool. Then we have Juno Ocean, and that makes it look even darker. Wow. And Juno Orange, or Mirage, sorry. And that, I like the yellow. It's a nice contrast. And then just Juno, which is kind of similar to Juno Pale Night, except Pale Night's a little paler. And then, of course, we got our pretty much everyday ones here, the Arc themes and the Edweda. So I'm going to just jump back into Pale Night, I think. Then we have our icons, and our icons are Tele Blue Dark. Tele Blue, so that's a nice icon theme. I'm kind of liking that. And then we have a lot of Tele colors, so Tele Orange looks cool. I have to bring this guy, kind of appreciate the difference. So there we got orange, Tele Pink, purple, wow. And then the Ubuntu Orange, which looks really nice. I always like the Ubuntu Orange. This Tele Orange, though, I kind of like the richness there. It's a little different shade, kind of a different type of orange. And then we got yellow, which I also like. Wow, such tough choices here. And the green, really liking the green. That kind of, I don't know if it goes that great with that surf green there, but you know. And then we got dark. The black's kind of cool. I have a Dracula theme on my main OS, and the Dracula theme uses a dark black, kind of a blackish, dark gray folders like this. Kind of reminds me of that. Kind of cool. In fact, even the buttons up here in the window decorations also look the same as my Dracula theme. So yeah, a little bit of influence there, I guess. Cool. And then brown. Brown's a pretty unique color for folders. I kind of like the brown. That's all right. And red, of course, you can never go wrong with red and black. Maybe I'll leave it red for now. What the heck? And then our fonts, looks like our default fonts are Roboto. So that's cool. I like the Roboto. Then we have our settings. And I like the default settings just the way they are, showing images on the buttons, and up in your menus, showing images there. Like images in your menus would be like, you go here into your Thunar, for example, and we don't see the menu here by default, but if you press F10 on your keyboard, the menus will come up. And then over to the left of each one of these menu items, you can see a little tiny icon. And that's where this comes in your appearance. So if I were to uncheck that, show images and menus, then those icons would go away for the most part. But see, then now they're gone. But I like having those there. I'm going to go just keep that checked. So that's the deal there. And yeah, that's the secret with Thunar too. If your menu's not there and you're like, hey, I like that menu, just hit your F10 key and it'll pop right up. If you hit F10 again, it'll go away. Or if you focus out, I think it goes to. I think that's a recent change in Thunar. I haven't really looked into that too deeply, but I don't know off the top of my head if there's a way to keep that menu there permanently. I don't think so, but it could be. So let's put settings aside for a second, and looks like the system has fully updated. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and I think when I close it, there's a message here. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there, but I went directly into a restart. As soon as I clicked onto that other window, bam, I was restarting instantly. So yeah, I don't know if I did something, if I didn't read the button right or what, but yeah. Okay, so anyways, we restarted. And I really would suggest running your update from the console. I was just kind of curious to see what would happen if you ran an update from Pamac, given that Pamac is not compatible with Pacman once the update is complete. So I shouldn't be real surprised that it just kind of flew right into a reboot with just taking me by surprise like that. So again, that was just me kind of experimenting, just kind of seeing what would happen. Kind of like when you're standing at the edge of a cliff and saying, hey, I wonder what would happen if I like stood on this loose rock right here on the edge and blah. So yeah, now I think if I go up here and I try to launch Pamac, so if I did like add remove, I tried to launch this, it's probably not going to launch, but let's try. So yes, nothing. And if we go into our console, I open up actually XFCE console, because I'm going to probably want to cut and paste some things, and I don't remember how to do that in the URXVT console. It's not as simple as just be paste. So this is quicker and easier. So anyways, let's try launching Yay, which I think doesn't exist now. Okay, yeah, because Yay bin was deleted during the update. So the first thing we got to do is get yay. I think before I even do that first thing, I'm going to change this font because that font doesn't work for me. It's kind of funky. So I'm going to right click and go into preferences. That's spaced way too far apart. So I'm going to go to appearance and then I'm going to uncheck this use system font. That looks better. Okay. So let's hit close. And now I think I can work with that. Yes. So the first thing we're going to want to do is install yay. So why don't I just open up the Brave browser and then we'll just do a search and we'll put in GitHub yay. There we go. And that's what we're looking for. We want to install this. All right. Okay. So now we got this. And now that I'm looking at GitHub, I'm kind of having a flashback. It's like something's kind of starting to make sense here. And what I mean by that is like when I was younger, I have a hillbilly cousin named Zeke. And Zeke, he would always be on his computer and he'd be like messing around and looking at doing code and putting all this crazy stuff and these weird looking formulas in his computer. And I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I was like, what the heck? So I would come running over and I'd be like, hey, Zeke, what you making there? And Zeke would be like, yeah. And I'd be like, well, okay then, whatever. Git, what's Git? What? Huh? And so I'd walk away and just kind of be perplexed, But now it's kind of making sense. All those years when he'd come after me with a baseball bat, or he'd be swinging that tire iron and yelling Git, he was just trying to tell me about his project. He always was a man of few words. Oh, Epiphany. Why didn't I know that before? It makes sense now. As you were, Jack. Okay, focus. So in GitHub, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here a bit. And I think there's some instructions on how to install this. Here we go. So this is what we want to do. We're going to go to Pacman here. Well, first of all, let's do this. Let's do Pacman needed git base devel. We might already have that installed, but let's run it anyway. I'm going to paste that in. And you got to be root right. They never put sudo in these things. So I guess they always assume that you're just going to go in as super user and, just SU in. But I don't. I like sudo. So I'm going to hit sudo and then paste it in. Password. And it's already installed, so we're good there. So now let's go ahead and git clone this. We're going to git. And again, remember to type sudo if you're not in as super user. All right. So that was easy peasy. So now we're going to just cd into the yay folder that we just made. And then we're going to type in make package, MAKEPKG, then -si. And again, it helps when you use sudo. Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah, don't use. So anyways, you don't have right permission. Really? Seriously? Okay, let me check my home directory. Where am I? Okay, so it looks like I have some kind of weird permission, I think. I'm not sure how that's possible though, because it's in my home folder. Let's just take a quick look at our properties. Yeah, it is. It's showing our group as root. Weird. Okay. I'm not really sure why we are in there as root. We can either do it console or just... Actually, let me do it the GUI way because I just want to... For those of you that aren't real familiar with XFCE, I want to show you something cool that I like about XFCE. So this is a good opportunity. You can right click on your desktop here and you can run your file browser as root. So we could go here and say open folder as root, ownership to user, all this cool stuff. That's something that's cool to know. So if I'm back in Thunar and I went over to the yay folder and I right clicked on it, I can just go down into this sub menu and I could either open the folder as root or I could change ownership to user right here. So click that, put in my password, and we're good. So now our group is Toadwick and our owner is Toadwick. So that's what we like to see. Now let's go ahead and run that command again. I'm going to up arrow a couple times to get back to where we were. And we don't want to use sudo for make package. We're going to go ahead and run this again. And it helps when you change into the right directory. Forgot I got out of the yay folder. Okay, so up arrow a couple times, we'll run this make package deal. And now it should build yay without any complaints. I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. And the root thing I'm not getting yet, but I'm going to check some of my other folders while yay is installing, like videos. Just kind of check the permissions. And that's correct. So yeah, that might be from one of the commands I put in here. We did git clone. I probably did a sudo git clone. That's probably the problem. Okay, yeah. I needed sudo pacman, but not for git clone. So don't run sudo when you do the git clone, and then your permissions will be fine. So that's what I did. As sudo, it created yay, but it created it as root. So that makes perfect sense. Okay, that mystery is solved. All right, so now we should have yay. I'm just going to type yay escape. And there we go. So yes, yay is working. I'm going to hit escape there. So now our next step is to get Pamac running. So now we got the yay working that is compatible with Pacman 6. And so now we're going to do yay and then Pamac, P-A-M-A-C. And then we can see our choices here. And what we want to go with is the Pamac AUR. You have other things like Pamac All and so forth. I've tried those before on my own desktop and they didn't work. So right now, as far as I know, at least as the time of this video, Pamac AUR is the only one in my experience that works. And it's showing it's installed. Okay, maybe that did update during the update. Let me go ahead and just try to run that. And I'm not getting anything. So let me escape for a second. Just type in Pamac. And it's given this error. So I think what we need to do is a version of Pamac AUR did install, but it's not really. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Because I'm pretty sure this guy is going to fix it. So what I'm going to do first, and if you did your upgrade through the console like we should do, you probably won't have this problem. So I'm going to just do yay RNS. That's uppercase R. Pamac, type in AUR. I'm going to totally remove that out of there. And then I'm going to put it back in. So again, yay Pamac. And yeah, it's just Pamac AUR. And that's the version I want, I'm pretty sure, is 10.1.1. The one from the repo is 1-1. And so we want this guy. So I'm going to reinstall by selecting option 2. And I'm going to go with yes. And I believe if it reinstalls these different libraries and so forth, it does a build here, it should be good. I'm going to hit yes. Okay, that completed. So now let's see if it runs. Jump in here, add remove software. Oh, it's back. Okay, so now we have Pamac working again. So that's what you need to do to get Pamac back right now if you're an Arch user and you're kind of without Pamac and or yay. So those are the steps. And like I said, at some point in probably the near future, you won't have to worry about that. It'll be a non-issue. And if you're using, some other bin of Linux like Ubuntu or something that uses the old stuff, then you're probably still on Pamac 5 dot something, and you don't have to worry about it anyway because you won't be on 6 for many, many years. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll call that a success. So back in our settings manager here, we did our theming and all that. And so a lot of this stuff is really just your typical XFCE stuff. Our file manager settings, that's always handy if you need to go in here and change something. One thing I really like in the file manager settings is they have set by default the date format is today at the time and AM PM. I like that because typically your default setting here is simply today. And I never liked it set it today because if you make something and you're working with a bunch of files, sometimes you want to know what time today did I make that. Sometimes that's important. So having that already set there by default is nice. That's a considerate thing. It's a plus. Very good. And so everything else, I think I just kind of like all the defaults on everything. Under behavior here, we have double click to activate items, which is typically what you would have. But if you're like a KDE person that has used the single click all the time, you do have that option here. Just click single click and then single clicking your icons will activate it. So that's a handy place to go. And then of course our panel settings, which we were in at the beginning of the video. Then we have our window manager here. And here we can change our window decorations up here on top. Right now it's the Juno Pale Night, but if you want a different decoration, you can click something else and it will change, but it'll change on another app. It won't change inside the window that you're actually in. So you want to remember that, otherwise you'll get confused. So line art, and that's kind of retro looking. That's cool. So yes, you can kind of get an idea of your different looks here. And synthetic, Stonehenge. A lot of these are kind of retro looking, tubular, totally tubular. and tux. That's kind of cool. So you can get some really unique looks out of your window decorations here. And then the traditional XFCE, probably from back in the old days when the T-Rex roamed the earth and was a favorite pet of many of my relatives. And then our Juno again. So I think I'm going to stick with Juno, but you get the point. Nice. Okay. So we'll go back to all settings again. And then we got our window manager tweaks. So here's where you would set your compositing settings. And by default, in Hefftor Linux, they already got it set up exactly the way I set mine up on my desktop anyway. So again, another time saver for me because I like having slight transparency in my window decorations. I like it to go a little more transparent when I move the window and drag it or minimize it. So all those little things I set anyway. So I think that's cool. I like it. It really coincides with my own personal taste by default. So for me, that's a plus. And then we have our workspaces. 4 is the default. And XFCE terminal settings, which I have already adjusted because I didn't like the font settings using the system fonts. Roboto just doesn't work with the XFCE terminal, at least not in my opinion. Then we got our color profiles. And since I'm on real hardware, you can actually see something. So iPhone camera and a bunch of other stuff. If you need to look at these or add a profile for some reason, there you go. Then your display settings for setting your resolution, monitors, scale, and all that. And again, you know, in the newer version of XFCE, we got fractionalization ability here where you can fractionalize it 1.5x, 2x, or you can customize it and make it 2.225 or 4.6 or whatever you like. So yeah, that's a nice feature in the latest version of XFCE that I think is kind of cool. And then of course there's our Pamac again and the other Hefftor utilities we kind of just skimmed over before. And again, really nice. I like the utilities. Nice. Here's where we can set our default applications. Here's our default file manager. So if you would have selected a different file manager during install, like say, for example, Dolphin, you could go in here and select Dolphin as your default file manager instead of Thunar if you liked it better. Same with your terminal emulator. Here we have our default as this guy, the RxVT Unicode, but I could make XFCE terminal our default. And I'm good with that. And if I wanted to change my default browser to Firefox, click right there. Easy peasy. Then we have our session and startup. So if you go in here under application auto start, if you p-killed your plank here and you didn't really want to uninstall it, but you don't really want it to start up at startup either because you're not really sure you're on the fence right or not, you can just simply go in here and uncheck plank this item, and then it won't be there the next time you start up, but it'll still be installed, ready and waiting for you to check that box when you want it to appear at startup. I'm going to go back to all settings. And so, yeah, that really pretty much covers everything here in the settings. Here's our Bluetooth adapter, and Bluetooth is off by default. I'll just say, yeah, I do have Bluetooth on this machine, but I really don't use it on here, on this one anyway, rarely. So those are our settings. And yes, I think we covered all the cool stuff. We'll just kind of unclutter our desktop a little bit. And I guess the only other thing left here is up here on top, we got our menu, our taskbar and all that. And I didn't really give you a tour of this side over here, but here we have where we log out. So that's kind of cool. Or restart, suspend, and all that. And then here's our calendar. So when you click on it, you got a calendar. And of course, your clock and date showing there by default. Volume control, mic control, and all that for your audio. And then your Bluetooth here. And then that's my OBS Studio icon. And then, of course, our network setting. And so here we got different Wi-Fi networks and then running a wired connection by default. So there you have it. What do I think of this Hefftor Linux? Like I said at the beginning, was it the mighty bull or just a bunch of bull? Well, I gotta tell you, I think it is the mighty bull, and I give it 2 thumbs up. Yes, double thumbs up. Really love this Hefftor Linux. It's really a fantastic distro. I say that Hefftor Linux is kind of like Arco 2.0 or maybe 3.0. Depends on how you look at it, I guess. And what I mean by that is we got all the goodness of ArcoLinux and then some, And on top of that, we have the artistic bling because we got that perfect combination of the developer and the artist that came along. It's kind of like the old Reese's peanut butter commercial where the two guys were walking on two different sidewalks and they were about to meet at the corner, and one of them had a jar of peanut butter and the other guy had the jar of chocolate, and they ran into each other and he said, "You got peanut butter in my chocolate." "No, you got chocolate in my peanut butter." Well, it turned out to be a perfect combination, and that's what I see here. It's like peanut butter and chocolate, peanut butter and jelly. They're a perfect combo, and it really makes a distro work when you can get a really great artist with really great developers together, and that just kind of brings you over the top because people like a good desktop. Most people, unless you're, just running like a Windows manager where you just want X Monad or you're just doing everything by the keyboard, you might not care so much about the looks. But other people, they want to have a cool looking environment. So when someone kind of walks into the room, they look at your computer and say, "Whoa, what is that you're running?" And you can kind of look like you're really cool and say, "Well, this is So yeah, there's all kinds of reasons you might want a really nice. If you spend a lot of time on the computer, that's your work environment, so to speak, or your play environment. So why not have it look as great and make you feel as comfortable as possible, right? So Hefftor Linux, I give you, like I said, a double thumbs up. This is a fantastic OS, and I recommend it to anybody that wants to try it. I would say load it into your machine, put it on a virtual box, whatever, give it a try. I don't think you're going to regret it. It's a class act of a distro and a full 5 stars. And again, thank you, Doug Tilleran, for recommending this distro. All right, so with that, I hope this review was helpful. And if it was, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you didn't like the video, be a rebel and leave the thumbs up anyways. And hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.